Assistance, July 2020 group. We acknowledge your patience while the students are preparing for the presentation.
Testing. Alright, works. Cool. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today my classmates of HSA St. Leonard's 2022 will be doing a performance about Florence Nightingale. Nothing changes if no one changes. So, what is a nurse? A nurse is a person strong enough to tolerate anything, yet soft enough to understand everyone. Every nurse is drawn to nursing because of desire, a desire to care, a desire to serve, or a desire to help. Nightingale was one of those. Our story begins on the 12th of May, 1820. A child was born in the Tuscan town of Florence. Her parents, with the ingenuity of those from the early 19th century, named her
Florence. I think we will have Florence.
What a lovely idea, darling.
The Nightingales were not the typical family, African family. They were vehemently upper class and had many estates in the English countryside, which they returned to shortly after her birth. The ideals of Florence's parents clashed constantly as she grew up. Her mother encouraging Florence to acquiesce to the Victorian status for women, marry and bear children, while her father was adamant she learn about politics, being a Unitarian and compassionately involved in the anti-slavery movement. Florence's upbringing consisted of a coalescence between both her parents' wishes, learning the languages and the arts from her father, and upholding Victorian values in the multitude of parties and social gatherings her social class afforded her, however, with a lack of autonomy.
I cannot wait for Florence to get married, prancing around in a white gown.
Brayton has proposed, has he not?
I do hope so. He comes from good stock.
Unbeknownst to her parents, Florence had rejected Broughton's proposal, called by God to help people.
Mail.
Florence!
Yes, Father?
We have received word from Lord Broughton's estate that he sought thy hand in marriage,
Yes, Mother.
and you refused. By God, Florence, how?
Well, it was by God, in fact, that I refused.
How exactly did this happen?
Well, you see, God said,
Florence,
and then I said, Who are you? And then God said,
I am God.
and then I said,
Hey God, what's on?
and then God said,
Florence, you must help people.
so as one does, I agreed with God and I shall travel to Germany to become a nurse.
A nurse? A nurse? Surely that's beneath you. I'll hear nothing of it.
Florence's plans were halted for 2 years until she met Elizabeth Blackwell, the first woman to qualify as a doctor in America. She assisted Florence in persuading her father to become a nurse. At the age of 25, Florence had overcome her father's class hesitancy and traveled to Kaiserreich, Germany to become a deaconess, a church-based education in humanitarian care. 2 years later, She returned to London and was appointed as superintendent of a women's hospital. Hospitals in Victorian England were not as they were today. A stench permeated the air, scents of foul decay. Operating theatres were scenes of horror movies. Torture stools laden upon tables, soiled in blood and feces. Surgeons? No surgeons. Butchers and barbers were appointed because of the experience in cutting. They blindfolded you before you entered the theatres so you wouldn't try to wriggle and squirm away. Hospitals were a death sentence. Hospitals on the front lines of the Crimean War, the story was far grimmer.
Get him on the bed. Where is Francis? Francis?
Yes, doctor.
We got another one.
What's the sore for?
Doc, you forgot to blindfold this one.
Get something to bite down on. Hold him down.
All yours. I'm bothering Christ. No.
William Russell, a reporter for the Times, spearheads the expose into the conditions of soldiers during the Crimean War.
These conditions are unacceptable. Soldiers are without food and warm. The Scutely Hospital is unfit, undersupplied, and neglected by Lord Lackland. I implore that something must be done to save our soldiers.
As soon as Florence read the Times, she was enlisting the help of 38 nurses and seeking permission to travel to the Scutari Hospital in the Crimean Peninsula, located in modern-day Turkey. Hospital conditions were grim. Wounded and ill soldiers were packed together like sardines. Uniforms still soiled in blood and gore. Windows locked shut, blanketless, without food. The war claimed over 500,000 lives. But it wasn't the guns, the bayonets, the cannons, or the mines that were the leading cause of death. It was instead the festering wounds, malnourishment, and the myriad diseases that plagued hospitals like Scutari that contributed to the highest fatalities in the Crimean War. Florence's experience in humanitarian aid allowed her to work swiftly to correct many of the faults Lord Raglan neglected. Soldiers were instructed to discard their tattered uniforms. Windows were opened. Blankets were distributed. And food was provided. However, it wasn't long until Florence suffered backlash for her improvements.
Florence, you have arrived at my barracks, taken my supplies, and harassed my men. Tell me, Miss Nightingale, why shouldn't I have you removed?
Oi, she saved my life!
Keep the lady alive.
Florence? Florence is oh my goodness. Okay. There we go. Florence, there we go. Florence returned to England was met by praise by both the public and the state, and she used this opportunity of influence to raise £60,000, £8 million in today's money, to improve the quality of nursing. She also founded the Nightingale School and Home for Nurses, the first official nursing school in the world, still standing today. And her books influenced the creation of the Military Medical Academy for combat medics, as well as the Red Cross. Florence's influence reached the far corners of the world, with Lucy Osborne in the company of 4 other Nightingales coming to Sydney in 1968 to restructure and refound the Sydney Hospital. The story of Florence Nightingale is not one of medical breakthrough, but instead a story of compassion. A compassion and prerogative for care that has transcended time and place to establish the foundations of modern nursing.
We, the certificate students, the 3 students of 2022 at Selena's nursing section have enjoyed our course. We are not limited to assistants in nursing roles at TAFE New South Wales, as TAFE New South Wales has opened the doors for us to a learning pathway to achieve a diploma in nursing. And we are all set to spread our wings and shine bright in this world. The little lamp that Florence Nightingale has started has not stopped shining. Instead, it has become a beacon, guiding our path. Our contributions begins from the very start of life, as a midwife or pediatric nurse. We excel in assessment and management of acute and chronic health problems as nurse clinicians. We deal with people's emotions and emotional well-being as mental health nurses. We provide healthcare services to people in their homes as community health nurses. We stand firm to care for the protectors of our country as defense nurses. We impart knowledge and skills in nursing to produce safe practitioners as nurse educators, like the teachers that sit here and stand over there. We ensure the smooth functioning of the healthcare system as nurse administrators and managers. And we know the sky is not the limit as we explore to expand our scope as nurse researchers. These, ladies and gentlemen, will become the future nurses of Australia. Thank you.
That was a lovely performance. They do deserve another big round of applause. Leading us to Where From Here, a clinical perspective. Brought to you by our very own team leader of dental and nursing,